What's good, everybody? I don't even have my video up so that I can see y'all, so I'm just trusting that people are there. Um, what's good, everybody? Welcome back to Universal Teas. It's the People's Podcast with your girl Toya and Njeri. And this episode is called "If It Works for You." So, Njeri, say what's up to the people.
Oh, hey. I'm glad to talk about what we're about to talk about.
Period.
It's on my spirit.
Yes. Okay. So while she's sharing that episode, I'll tell y'all how we came up with this. So it's called If It Works for You. And I think we have both kind of been in spaces where we are growing into ourselves right now. Kind of trying to shed the layers of who we were and what we've been used to, and like in this weird space of like developing what works for us in relation to like what may be working for people around us. And so one thing that we kind of mentioned when we've having conversation about this before is that, or I mentioned, it's really easy for us to feel bad for kind of stepping away from the way that other people do things. For example, a lot of people may be in like grind mode, and like the way that they grind
Hey,
can
Higgins.
look different.
Hey,
Look, I
Bounce.
can't
Look.
see
What up,
who's
y'all?
here.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Thank you for watching the chat. When you talking, I'm gonna have to go and turn mine on. But the way that you grind can look different from somebody else's. And I know I've been in spaces mentally where I feel like because I'm not grinding as hard, I'm not connecting with as many people, I'm not doing as many things, right? I feel like I'm behind. So is that something that you can like relate to or that you've seen, or how would you approach that mindset?
Yeah. I think when we were talking about it earlier, it's easy to feel like that when you don't know yourself, when you don't know what your own like career track, spiritual track, wherever it is you're trying to go, you don't know your end goal. So definitely something I can relate to. My mom knocked that out of us early. Not well. She didn't let us.
She knocked it out you.
I mean, hey. she didn't like that spirit of comparison. Like, she always told us like, you're in your own lane. You know what I mean? Looking at other people to judge where you are, it's just not healthy. And I grew up playing basketball, so that was actually kind of it was taught to us like you need to be examining the other team to figure out like how you measure up. And even with that type of framework in ball, I never really let that carry over into other spaces in life. And I think that's important to name, is because sometimes we don't realize how it has been reinforced in our lives that we should compare ourselves to other people.
Wow.
You know what I mean, right? Like even growing up in school, test scores, or how do we even in the education system, how does this school compare to other schools? So you kind of are taught to always measure yourself yourself to other people. Like, how do you compare?
Right.
So,
and it's crazy that you mentioned like playing basketball, and that's something because I'm thinking about like how I grew up. My hobby of choice was dance. And so now I'm like, dang, so maybe I have been programmed to compare, because when you're a dancer, you audition. And so you are literally being compared to every other dancer that's in the space. It's like she did this one thing better than you, so she's better than you for this position. And I think I've been subconsciously programmed to always compare how I do things to other. Even the way that I became a better dancer, I would have people record me. So like, let's say I got kicked out of a dance or whatever, I didn't make it, this, that, and the other. I would be like, I want you to record me to the person who does it the best. And so this is a literal side-by-side comparison of another person to me, and I have to learn how to dance like the person standing next to me to be accepted in this world. And so I think you just opened up my mind to that. And I even think, too, sometimes I didn't see this a whole lot in my personal household, but I know friends who have siblings. There's a comparison aspect there. Is your sister or your brother did this? Why can't you do things like her? Why you gotta be the problem child, or even the child that is the good child is different or compared to their other siblings in the path that they choose to take? And I know I have friends growing up that would have that story. So I think we forget how much comparison is embedded in us, both for positive and negative things. So how would you say that, how do we start the work to kind of unprogram our minds for comparison and try to step into what we know works for us, or even discovering what we know works for us? That was like 3 different questions. Take whichever one you want.
But honestly, the first step to all 3 of those, I think, is the same as self-awareness, right? And knowing what you need to unlearn, knowing where it starts, right? To just give a few more examples for people to chew on, is like, even in the world that we're in now, like instant gratification, right? Like, how many likes do you have? How many, who, of the people that are in your lane, who's doing it the best? So just being self-aware of how deeply embedded is this in my psyche? Like, do I do it? Like, do I just do this without even thinking about it? So being self-aware, and with being self-aware, I think silence, removing yourself from these spaces, right? Like getting off of whatever social media site it is, getting out of this, getting away from whatever group that you feel like you've had to be around to compare yourself. And I think people who feel like they're at the top, they're the top dog. You talk about the oldest sibling or the golden child, removing yourself from your family too, or whoever you feel like you've been, beaten or being better than, and really realizing, like, who am I outside of all of this?
And so what that makes me think of is like removing yourself and being in solitude and being silent. And I really think that God wants us to follow our own path and the destiny that he's given us. So if you don't take the time to separate yourself, or to remove yourself, or to disattach yourself, because attachments can be really toxic, whether we know it or not, in any form, he's going to force you into solitude one way or another. And what I think happens there is it feels lonely, but you are in a position where you have no choice but to figure out what you like. And then you realize no matter what accomplishments or accolades or, you know what I mean, things that you've been awarded matter when you don't really love what you do and who you are every day. I think there was a story, I don't know if it was last year or a couple years ago, but there was like this pageant queen. I don't know if she won like Miss USA or something like that, but she ended up committing suicide. And so you were literally in an arena where you were compared to other women. You won this comparison competition, but she still wasn't fulfilled. And unfortunately, she decided to take her own life. So you have to understand that this whole world of somebody saying they like you, or being chosen, or being selected, or being the greater person in this scheme of comparison doesn't mean anything if you are not okay with it. If you are you're really good at acting. If you can get all of these things and meet these molds for other people, but
we're all taught to do that.
Yeah.
And we don't, and obviously we'll put it out there too that she could have been dealing with anything, right? But right, even people that may have looked up to her, thought like, this is what I want to be or whatever. You don't know what somebody is really going through, right? Like, you got to know what it is for yourself. I cut you off. Go ahead, though.
No, you're fine. I was just going to say we have to learn to be honest with ourselves. And we have to also learn how to be honest with ourselves silently.
Yes.
A lot of times we feel like if we change something, or not even change, if we step into our truth, if we decide to do something that's a little...
I said, excuse
me. You got some water, right?
I do. Come on, good and gather.
This is not a sponsored. Look, this is not a sponsored presentation.
Girl, I mean, you look good and gathered over there. That's it. Dang.
Anyway, I done forgot what I was saying. Girl.
Nah. You were talking about. What y'all okay? They gonna
right.
Help.
What help?
They gonna help.
But no, I think I was just mentioning kind of being good with what. Oh, when you step into something, that you feel like is for you, y'all.
We got somebody who said something in the chat.
Okay, what they say?
Okay, so what's up, Guthrie?
Hey.
What's up, CC? Bells.
What it do?
Guthrie said, I say checking myself and standing 10 toes in the lane I've created for myself. That's real.
Yeah, and I think I'm glad she mentioned that because a large part of self-awareness is knowing where you need to change.
Yeah.
We are not stoic individuals. We are meant to grow and change and develop. You know what I'm saying? That's why we're still not babies. That's why we have different palates now. Like, baby, I might have wanted some chicken nuggets. I might have been in the McDonald's drive-thru a couple years ago.
Okay, listen.
But today, no thank you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so we have to be able to really be open to self-awareness. Self-awareness, from what I've learned, you can let me know how you feel, is a real humbling experience because if you are fully open to learning who you are, that means that you are learning the amazing things about you, but you are also opening yourself up to the parts of you that are not so amazing.
Yep. And you gotta be okay with that. Like you said, there are gonna be some things that aren't that pretty. And unlearning is hard, right? We gotta talk about the hard things, because self-awareness, it sounds cute, but that could take some time to peel back the layers and realizing like how much of who you think you are is who people have told you that you are. Right now, it could be a good thing or a bad thing. Like, you're a great speaker, or you're a great this, you're a great that. Sometimes we just continue to pour into the things that people tell us that we're good at, even though we might not like it that much. So being able to step back and be like, you know what, this is like, I don't even really like that for real. Like, I need to go do my thing. And even in being who I am, I've learned this early, right? A lot of my, I guess, youth was spent being concerned about adults and whoever else finding a problem with how I live my life. You know, like, I likes the women. I likes the girls. I likes the girls. And the girls likes me.
I'm dead.
But no, for real though, right? Like, people always want to try and tell you, like, you know, from that's a sin to, you know, who I'm trying to be like and all of that. And all of that, shout out to my mom and just telling me, like, who cares what they got to say about you? You know what I mean? Like, all of, let me just say this. We all knew the person in high school, right, that was a little bit lame. We all called him a little lame. And now,
Little cornball Jamal.
And now what is cornball Jamal? Cornball Jamal got his shit together as an adult.
Yeah.
Because really, people not wanting to be around him or whatever was going on, right, was really space for him to figure out who he was. You know what I mean? And you had all the people who was on and popping in high school trying to be like everybody else.
Trying to catch up now.
Now they look. What's the name? now they not on. Look, I like the cornball Jamal. I thought you was gonna put another name.
Now
for these
I have
people.
another one.
Yeah. But no, like, I ain't gonna get too far off topic, but yeah, we all know them people.
Yeah. And I think too, stepping into newness, especially when it's not who in there? Girl, what?
Higgins said, and the boys do too.
I'm dead. Okay. All right. This is not the Gas Jerry show.
Hey, Prince. Hey.
Y'all
Period.
snap.
And the boys. I love me some Higgins. Okay. We back.
Hey, y'all. Anyway. But yeah, no. So kind of like stepping into self-awareness is finding those.
I'm like, Higgins got me cracking up, got me blushing. Okay, I'm done.
Get
Come on,
it together.
We back. Gotta have a little fun. Go ahead.
So self-awareness. This is about the things about it when we find out things about us that are not the prettiest. I think self-awareness is step one, but not feeding into your ego is the other step when we talk about doing what's best for us, because you can become aware of some shit about yourself that is not good, and you could be like, no, actually they got me messed up. I am a good person. When you got this whole long line of people that you've lied to, gaslighted, manipulated, you know what I'm saying? You've shown up as someone who you really aren't, and they fed into it, and so, but you don't feel like you need to change it because ego is telling you that you're never wrong, that you never have any work to do. So self-awareness is cool, but what do you do when you become aware? And how do you not let ego take over?
What do you do? What do you do once you become aware? And how do you? Okay, so part of becoming aware, right? At least for me, the people around me started changing.
Amen.
Okay, I was in different spaces.
It was
creating a healthier version of yourself means creating a healthier space, people, in a healthier environment for yourself. So once you become self-aware, hopefully you have people around that are holding you accountable. Like hopefully that you have, set reminders for yourself, and you have created habits for yourself that that help you to continue to be a healthier person. And it's doing the things that could feel a little bit uncomfortable. Like, I ain't never did this before. Good.
Right.
You know what I mean? The older we get, sometimes it's like, oh man, like I ain't never, like we're scared to fail.
Yep. I've heard the comfort zone is where dreams go to die.
Listen, okay? Like you have to be willing to try the new things, go around the new people, like not being afraid of what other people are gonna say about you. That shame will eat you up. That's all a part of the that process of being aware. But yes, not afraid to pour into this new thing that you created.
And I think I agree with all of that. And when I'm thinking about when people change, so when you change, you have to accept that the people around you will change. You can't continue to elevate to new heights and expect to always be with the same people who were with you at the bottom. Some of them will still be there, but you have to be able to accept that some people are going to change.
Right.
You have to understand that when you're in that space, how you mentioned, where you're isolated or you're by yourself, when you pop back out, some people not going to want to fuck with you no more.
Yeah. And how are you going to respond to that?
Like, how are you going to respond to that? Because some of it won't be with ill intent. It'll just be like, I ain't like that you was gone. And it's like, you can have all the conversations and extend the olive branch, but everybody is not going to be okay with your evolution.
Yeah, everybody. And that I think is the biggest part of that. We're humans. We're not meant to be by ourselves. We're meant to be in community with people. But if you want, what's the saying? Show me who you surround yourself with, and I can tell you
who you are.
And I can, tell you who you are, show you how far you're going to go, whatever, that. Right? Like a big part of that is surrounding yourself with good people. I have some of the most amazing people in my space right now. I know if you want to respond to any of this, but okay, we got to talk about that day ones and day
that's
twos.
Why I handed it to you.
Yeah. Okay. So French had brought this to me, and she was saying like sometimes we everybody has day ones. Those are the people you grew up with. Those are the people that that have been around the longest. The day twos, from what she explained, is like are the people who align with who you are today or who you're gonna be, and that pour into your most authentic self when you find it. Now, some of us gonna have to find day threes because the second round they don't figure it out either.
Yeah. They be
know
good
what I mean?
for that second stage.
Okay, yeah.
But when the second stage moves on up, they falling off the platform.
Listen, okay. So, no, that's a great point. Knowing who your day twos are gonna be, because day ones. Listen, we all know the stories about the people who became successful or whatever, and they tried to keep stay in the same environment. Some of our most beloved folks has gone now.
Yeah.
They were somewhere that probably wasn't, and I ain't gonna say the name, but because everybody gonna be on my ass. But some of the people that we look up to, maybe they're in the wrong place at the wrong time, maybe trying to get back to the community. They tap back into the old spot, and that was really it for them. When it's time to move on, don't feel bad about always having to,
Yep.
I can't go back. What's that, survivor's guilt?
Yep.
Yeah, I can't go back. I'm
Yep.
I'm elevated now. People gonna try to call you fake. I can't do that. I'm past that point now.
Yeah, and being okay with that.
And
And I think, my bad.
No, go ahead.
You were still saying your
Go
piece.
ahead. Go ahead. No.
I was gonna say too. I think, and tell me if you agree or disagree. When we have day ones, those are the people who we meet in circumstances. Because we were in the same hood, because we were in the same school, because we were in the same class, because we walked the same route, because we took the same bus. But I think once you get into isolation, you decide who your day twos are. So you're a lot more intentional.
Yeah.
You're a lot more intentional about who these people are and why you surround yourself with them. And I think that makes it easy. Again, that heightened sense of awareness when you get to day two makes it easy to choose people, and it makes it easier to lose people.
Say it again. Say it again. Yeah, sit up in your seat.
What I had said was,
yes,
when we come out of isolation and we are more intentional about choosing our day twos.
Yeah. Go ahead. I'm gonna give you some affirmation. Yeah. Did I do it right?
When you are at this heightened sense of awareness and self-love, it is easy to choose people at day two.
Yeah.
But because you're intentional about choosing people, it's also easy to lose people.
Yeah.
Because you're aware of where your alignment lies, and either you gonna get in line, or you gonna get out of line.
Yep. They said exactly. Facts. Big purr.
But yeah, it's like that, and you get into this space, and I used to hear people say, like, I don't care about losing people, and I used to think it was such a heartless statement, but I can see where that can be
They choosing themselves.
Yeah, losing people is one thing, cutting people off is another. I think that's kind of sometimes where I struggle. I'll cut somebody off, maybe not even with good intention, but losing people, I don't mind losing people.
You know what, and it's not. Another part of being your authentic self and growing is reframing the way that you think about things. I have been working on having a mindset of abundance, rather a poverty mindset, and not just money.
Right.
That's poverty and opportunities, like a lack of, right? Losing people ain't always a way to think about it. I'm making room for what's for me.
You better say that.
Listen.
Amen. Glory be unto him.
Okay. Yeah, look. Okay.
Shoot.
God, that was a message.
That Summer Walker has said, losing people, finding peace.
Listen, okay? That's real. You're making room for what's for you.
Yeah.
And sometimes a lot of it is a test, right? Like, and talking about tests, I've been tested. I've been tested. I think I've been doing good. Listen, okay, I've been tested, but and this we were talking about this earlier. I don't even really feel shook no more for real. Can they see?
They can see it.
Oh, it look a little dark.
Oh, it do look dark, but they on here.
But
I think. Yeah.
What was I saying?
Wait. Go ahead. Yeah, it is.
Okay,
I did
cool.
something.
What was I saying?
You were saying that you have been tested, but you are not shook.
But I don't feel shook. I don't feel shook.
Though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will feel no evil. That's what you were saying.
Yeah, that.
But in your terms, not in the Jesus terms.
That part. What was I saying before that, though?
You were saying, you don't lose people. It's okay to lose people. You make
your room, right? You make your room. And I think that's why, right? Like, sometimes when we think about things in a way that's like, man, this is going wrong, that's going wrong. Sometimes it's not that things are going wrong. It's that the way that you have trained your mind to think is, I'm losing access to, or I'm this. And it's like, are you thinking in the past, or are you thinking about a potential future? Because when you're thinking in this, when you're not thinking in the present moment, you could be reflecting on the past, and your brain is not able to see all the different opportunities that are coming ahead, right? Man, listen. What you saying? I'm gonna tell my business.
Go ahead and tell your business.
I'm gonna tell my business.
Go ahead.
Hey, I'm gonna tell my business.
Get y'all cup. She sharing the tea.
Okay, so some people know this, but I struggle sometimes with letting go of things. I struggle with letting go, and usually the way that God, my setup, me and God's arrangement is, if you don't know how to let go, that's okay, because I'm about to push you.
Okay.
I'm about to push you.
He gonna cut.
I worked at this ice cream shop.
Come on, ice cream.
Listen, okay, everybody,
Chocolate
back
and
in Madison,
vanilla.
I worked at Chocolate Shop Ice Cream Company, and I worked my way up from working in the store, scooping a little ice cream,
Come
right?
on, to what?
To managing.
Oh, how many?
About 4.
Ooh.
Was it 3? Maybe it was 3 or 4 stores. Anyway, I was managing 3 or 4 stores, and maybe I shouldn't have. Maybe I shouldn't have said this. Anyway, well, it's okay. It's done now. It's in the past.
The chocolate shop corporate.
Why would you say it again?
I'm sorry.
They on my page. I appreciate the Deadmans. They were really amazing people. Anyway,
That was a beautiful experience. She learned a lot.
Anyway, some things had happened. I was driving the company car, and I hit somebody. Nobody was hurt or anything, but I hit somebody. And at that time, I was maybe 18. I had a parking ticket. I didn't know my license was suspended.
You was out here riding dirty.
I didn't
Company
know.
car.
I didn't know, right?
Swerving.
I didn't know.
Ice cream.
And if you,
I'm sorry.
let me tell.
I'm sorry. This your testimony.
Okay.
I apologize.
So, and it was just a weird situation, right? But I didn't know. And if you would have asked me then, I would have been at Chocolate Shop forever. I appreciated the people. I felt like I was making decent money at my age. It was like, this is great. But I ended up getting fired. Damn. I was working there forever, right?
Damn. How long was you working there?
God said when I could work. Since when I could work. I was probably like, I probably got fired when I was like, what, like 20, maybe 20.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, I think maybe 19, maybe 19.
Like the gold-plated name tag.
Did
shit,
I thought I was a lifer. I thought I was gonna work there for life.
There was a lifetime
But that's that mindset, right?
Yes.
But I had to get pushed out of that to get into my next space, right? And even with basketball, everybody knows I love ball. I swore I was going to WNBA, and I ended up getting injured, and when I was living in the dorms or whatever, some people came in and it was a little home invasion, so I couldn't stay where I was staying anymore.
Happened to you too in college?
Girl, yeah,
Somebody
I got
broke
injured.
A crib too.
Yeah. And they had guns and everything. I was like, dang, y'all snap. But that pushed me to go back home and just see a different life for myself outside of basketball, outside of Chocolate Shop, outside of Madison, which has pushed me into all the opportunities that I have now. Had I not been open, well, I wasn't.
You were open.
I did not see myself. I had to be pushed.
You had to be pushed.
I don't want to be pushed no more. So now I'm trying to know when it's my time.
Yep.
But being more authentic and knowing myself is allowing me to do that.
Sure. And so, right, like you have to it's easier, I feel like, to make the decision to move on. And Ned was saying, I actively remind myself, people aren't mine to have. I can't be selfish and decide how they deal with life. All I can do is navigate and guide myself.
Come see, Bounce. Oh, hey, shout out to Bounce. Okay, if y'all see me, right, wait a minute. I'm both. Listen, y'all see my hair?
Hair by Ned. Locks by Ned.
Y'all see it?
All scalp.
Listen, okay? Bounce gets me right every time.
Yeah.
Every time. Shout out to her. But yes, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, and so just that, really learning how to find the inner light within yourself. And it's really hard sometimes to not be guided, because we are essentially guided from the time we're born.
Yeah.
And to step into a realm or a world or a decision or a life choice that is outside of what you have been guided to do feels wrong. You almost feel like you've been you've betrayed, everybody who's poured into you, or lack thereof, you know what I'm saying, the people that you cared about the most. But what I'm learning now is that I am developing every day. I'm growing in my mind. I'm growing in my spirit.
That's natural.
actually, no, I'm growing in the opportunities that I'm having. I'm growing in my responsibilities, but I found that there's a lot of times where I've mentally trapped myself in my childhood. So even though I'm at this big old age with all of these responsibilities and all of these things to take on, and I have the liberty to make the decisions for myself, the little girl in my mind is still trapped there, and I feel like I have to have acceptance to do everything. I don't know if that's just me, but I'm having this battle in real time with letting the little girl in my mind know that I can do whatever I want to do. From the smallest thing as staying up late to a big thing as starting a business or moving to another country or moving to another state. And I think a lot of people might struggle with that mental trap, like that child in their mind being trapped.
Yep. No, absolutely. Because if it's not your that inner child being trapped, it's the things that people have told you about yourself. Yeah, that's real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think we mentioned earlier in the episode, like about the golden child, you've gotten so used to being celebrated for everything that you do that now you may be in a space where you're stepping outside of this, or you may have heard growing up that's something that you decided to do, or you haven't heard anything about what you're deciding to do. And so now you're afraid of rejection, or you're afraid of being devalued, or you're afraid of judgment because you've only been celebrated. And so there are people out there who deal with that internal struggle too, of like, the child in my mind has only been celebrated, so anything other than cheers and compliments and acceptance feels totally like diminishing, or like a low blow, and you don't really know how to deal with that. You don't know how to deal with losing people because you've always been a village, you've always been a center of attention, you've always been that. And so we have to understand that just because some people may have what we say a hard life, or they didn't have, or they were missing this type of love from family, from parents, from community, those people who have only gotten that can struggle too, because they could make a decision outside of what they've been celebrated for.
Right.
And their fear is rejection, where somebody else's fear may be love and acceptance. It may seem sketchy to them.
Nah, talk about that, because I was gonna say the other side of what you were saying is like rejection, right? And recreating life traps. When you sometimes it's easier to hurt yourself before other people hurt you.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
And
I've
more
been
frequently.
yeah, no, I've been guilty of that, right? Like it's like, let me just, this seems like it's getting good. Let me just kind of walk away, or like, I can't be around. Well, transparently, to me, being connected to people in my mind is like, dang, I could potentially lose these people, right? Like, if I'm connected to all of these people and I care about people very deeply, the other side of that and the fear of it is something can happen, and what am I gonna do then? Like, I don't want to be distraught. Let me just have a few people around, and I'm just, so that I don't have to deal with the emotions of losing folks. Which goes back to Bound's point, though, in a way to deal with that is, I don't, what she said, I don't own people.
Nobody is yours to have.
Nobody is yours to have. Everything is an experience, right? Like, that's what Nipsey was saying. Everything is yours to experience. Being present helps me a lot with that too. I'm not so much like that anymore, like what I was, what I used to struggle with people, but learning to be present in the moment and not being too caught up in the past, not being too caught up in the future, and just kind of taking things for what they are, and not being a lot of us, we create what we think something is supposed to be, instead of just letting it be, or like seeing it for what it is. The fairy tales that we create, the nightmares that we create, just let, you know what I mean? And it's a skill.
It is.
Your brain uses it to protect you from things.
Yep.
So, and going back to spending time by yourself. But it'll help it'll help you see clear, right?
Yeah. And I think I can say for myself, and this might be my business, not y'all's. I don't know, but I struggle with being present. And I struggle with chilling because I have big dreams and goals and ideas, and I am very clear on my visions and everything that I want to achieve. But anytime that I feel like I'm not doing something, I feel bad. I feel this sense of like you're not good enough or you're never going to make it because you're not doing anything. And I think that anxiety I get anxious in the present, or maybe that's not the present I'm anxious of because I'm thinking about what needs to be done. So I'm anxious because I'm thinking about what needs to be done, but I think that is triggered by social media for me a lot.
Okay.
Because
sense.
every time you get on social media, it's like something new that you need to be doing. If you want to be a #1 podcaster, you need to do this. If you want to really make money in podcasting, you need to also learn how to do this. So I'm constantly like, I need to learn how to do this. I need to learn how to do this. I'm never going to get to the top if I don't. But I need to just do what I do well.
Come on, say it.
And to where I am fulfilled.
Yep.
Before I move on to the next thing.
Yep.
And I think we need to learn how to step away from media, step away from networking. That might sound crazy to some people. Step away from trying to connect yourself and forcing yourself into spaces. And I promise creativity, authentic and genuine creativity comes to you when you are not influenced by anyone. When you are not trying to figure out what's hot right now or which type of, songs sound best on the reels and get the most plays. And it's like you have to really get into a zone where it's like you don't consider the things around you. Because I don't think you can block them out for real. But you just have to learn how to kind of put your blinders on. Like, assess them. Because social media and just not even social media, but just being around people who are in different lanes than you for how they're getting to their goals can be sometimes intimidating and even overwhelming because people who love you can also trigger that anxiety. And I've experienced that as well, where it's like, yo, you need to get on this. I saw this, and this will work for you. You need to do this right now.
Girl, just at me then, because I know I tell all my friends that.
No, but that's not just you though. Like there's, it's nothing wrong with you being motivational, but you have to learn how to say though, like, yo, I hear you. I just can't do that right now.
No, that's
and I think I've even verbalized that to you before. Like, I can't do that right now, but that is dope.
No, that's real.
Because I can't do everything. I'm a one-woman show, and I also am a woman who kind of likes to do things on my own, which is not good, working on that. But you have to, that's another level of self-awareness, is don't push away the support. And that's something that I don't ever want to do because people, like, I love when people give me ideas and suggestions because you need that love.
Right.
And I don't want to push that away, but being able to say, like, that is dope. I'm going to have to write that down.
Right.
And not feeling like you have to take it on because for me, I feel like that's me being a people pleaser. It's saying like, I'm going to do it right now. Or I'm going to do it. Or sure, what is it? And I don't even be knowing what the hell half the stuff is. And like what it's about. But that's another level of self-awareness when you're on this journey of growth, success, and development. And doing what you know feels good to you.
Right. And I feel like, another way to look at that, right, is just honoring your truth.
Yes.
Like sometimes, yes, self-awareness can be messy, but sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's not at all. Sometimes it's really just honoring your truth. A lot of us know what we like and what we don't like.
Facts.
Honor that. All your friends are going out. So-and-so called you and you don't want to tell them that you low-key just want to sit on the couch and do nothing. So instead, you put your clothes on. You spend the money you don't really got. You do this extra stuff. When you know you're supposed to go to the gym or you know whatever, you don't want to do it, honor your truth. You know what I mean? Like, and that is okay. Well, they're going to start feeling this way about me. Again, it goes back to honor your truth. A lot of times it's asking yourself, do I really want to do this?
Yep.
If I don't, will this benefit me? Do I want to do this? Why do I feel conflicted about it? Right? Just doing a check-in with yourself, right? Like, especially in this space of being pressured. um authenticity is not rewarded right now, right? Like it's all about, you know, are you in the know? What are you? What they saying in the chat?
Rosha said facts. That part. Focus on one thing and be great. Sorry, Roche said that part. Focus on one thing and be great at that.
Style Pop. Shout out to Style Pop. Y'all check him out.
Oh, that's Style Pop.
Style Pop.
Oh, hey, Style Pop.
Period.
I've heard so many great things about
Talking
you.
about staying in your own lane and authenticity. Let's talk about it real quick, right? Like, I'm in the world of like entrepreneurship, and a lot of the people that I know that are successful to me, and that's the thing. Successful to me is like doing what you say you're gonna do, being
the end.
Oh, for real, doing what you say you're gonna do and staying true to yourself. Style Pop, they are a black woman-owned coffee company. I kind of watered it down.
Look, tell us what it is.
Right.
Right.
But she's gonna correct me in the chat. But a lot of us sometimes are trying to like catch the wave. Roche is telling me, like, I love coffee. Like, that's my vibe. Like, I like going to get coffee and doing X, Y, and Z. Some of us are trying to do what we think other people want us to do. Sometimes it's just about being yourself, right? Like, doing what it is that you truly, you know, want to do. Stop trying to catch the wave.
Yep. I'm going to start a workshop for us recovering people pleasers.
Yeah,
because that's what this sounds like.
That's real.
I'll be working on it.
Okay, so self-awareness.
Self-awareness, that's one thing. Staying in your lane and being true to your lane and being true to pacing yourself in your lane. Just because sis over here in lane 4 sprinting, you know good and well you ain't trained to do that. If you was in your lane with a nice little jog, a brisk power walk, do that, baby. Because if, you know what I'm saying, if somebody in lane number 5 is running up hills on the 5 incline and you at a 2, baby, you don't try to crank it up to that.
Low
you know
key, that's dangerous.
Very much
that's
so.
dangerous. Sometimes y'all be doing something, so you're just not there yet. But go ahead.
Brenda was calling you.
Oh, cuz. Okay.
Yeah, you gotta call her back. But so yeah, being authentic to you and understanding that it's okay. The person who you are is just fine.
Yeah.
The person who you are is just fine, and being okay and trusting and understanding that the more you show who you are, the more you find who is for you. Versus you showing up as somebody else and not really and doing things that don't feel right to you, and now you're uncomfortable in spaces. You don't really like this person. You don't really want to be at this job, but you put on this face every day like you good and you okay with it, but you're not.
Right.
You're not going to perform as well. But if you love getting up, going to this job, if you love going to this one restaurant, if you love waking up to this person every day, it's going to be easy. And even when things are difficult, you are more motivated to work through them. Let's say, for instance, Style Pop, if she loves coffee and she's pouring her all into this, that is going to be more authentic. It's going to be more beautiful. Right. It's going to be more sustainable than her pouring her all into having a 5-star restaurant, and that's not really her vibe.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So being true to what is true to you, and sometimes it will not make sense to people. It's not their job. It's not your job to get people to understand your calling. It's your job to see it through.
Say that.
You say it one more time?
Go ahead.
It is not your job to get people to understand your calling. It is only your job to see it through. Because the people that might understand your calling might be at the top where you're trying to get to. And you too busy trying to get the people at the bottom of the barrel to understand. And that might not need to be where your attention is. Thanks for the plug. I'm a coffee. Oh, look, I feel I'm on a commercial. So Style Pop is a coffee creamer brand whose mission is to encourage people to find their purpose, their why, over their experience with Style Pop Coffee Cafe.
Period.
Boom.
See, that sounds a lot
If
better
you ever need a commercial, hit me up.
Period. Big purpose.
I'm your girl. Hey, Vogie. Child, Vogue said, see it through. Period, sir. My mama said she like, hey, Ma. Hey, Ari. Ari just joined. But yeah, y'all, all of those things, Njeri, is there anything when we talk about doing what is best for you? Okay, I got one thing that I want us to talk about. We mentioned that it's uncomfortable. We mentioned that we might lose people. We mentioned that it may be causing anxiety. It may be fear. How do we work through that? We know that that's going to exist. How do you push through?
How do you push through all the things?
Go.
Well,
I'm putting you on the spot.
How do you push through? First of all, God.
Amen.
Okay.
Glory be unto him.
Listen, no, but seriously. I feel like I kind of answered this, like surrounding yourself with people, habits, taking care of your mind, taking care of your spirit, getting back to, the things that worked for you when you was little. Okay. Being able to free yourself up. Yeah, that's a difficult question. Ask me again. What you just
like
say?
Right now?
Yeah, like what did you say? I'm trying to remember. That's a deep.
Like,
that's
ask
a
me
deep.
Again later.
No, that's a deep question.
How do we push through? Because we just told everybody what it's gonna feel like. How would you suggest pushing through those feelings to get to the other side of being able to stand up and like, this is what works for me. I don't care what y'all gotta say. How you get to that?
Well, Vogue said,
"Hey sis."
Oh, your mom said speak up.
She said speak up. You can't hear me, Mom?
She said can't hear you.
Mom, you might need to turn your phone up.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
Mom, turn the volume up on your phone. Wait, press the button on the side of the phone, Mama, so it'll turn up. Okay.
Can you hear us now? No, for real. You gotta make sure everybody can hear.
What she said?
She didn't say nothing yet.
Okay.
Okay.
But keep going.
Vogue said for. Oh, they couldn't hear me. Y'all could hear me this whole time.
Did you turn your mic off? Okay, go ahead.
Okay. Okay, yeah. Vogue said for her it was therapy and figuring out why she had so much anxiety. What other things to push through? Man, it's just really training your mind to be great. I'll say what did it for me. I had to work out. I had to do the things that made sense for me. I feel like I'm just repeating myself at this point.
No, that's fine.
Doing the hard things, really doing what felt good to me. I love a good piece, right? Like a good little,
I'm about to say what type of piece?
Girl, good little piece. Good little piece. Good little piece.
Okay.
Anyway, but really doing what made me feel good. We neglect ourselves a lot. And like I was doing wellness Wednesdays for myself. Like, yeah, I'm working out. Like, yeah, I'm an ambitious person. I'm trying to do all of these things, but like, how am I pouring into me at the end of the day? I was getting my massages. I was making sure I felt good because somebody told me self-preservation is first law.
Yes.
And that's just self-preservation. That's not flourishing. That's like preserving yourself. In order to preserve yourself, you need to know what yourself needs. So really taking the time to give yourself what you need and not feeling guilty about it. Yes. We have trained ourselves to feel guilty about doing the things that we just want to do. Well, I don't really need it. I don't got them. Yeah, choose. It's okay to choose yourself. Spend time with yourself. Choose yourself. So, yeah. What about you?
I would say pushing through difficult moments or pushing through to get to the other side is acknowledging what you feel. Don't try to run from feelings. So I have this theory that naturally when we feel anything other than joy or happiness, we kind of like try to pretend like we don't feel that. So I think it's important to acknowledge what you're feeling, acknowledge what you're thinking, and then find a way to get it out, whether it be writing, reading, crying. Do what you need to do to get those negative feelings out. And then the other thing that I would say is just very simple, and I can elaborate if I need to, but saying yes to yourself in the smallest way.
Yep.
And it can be do I want ice cream or a banana right now? I really want ice cream. It's okay to say yes to that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And not feel like, oh, I'm just a horrible person at my diet. I'm horrible at this. Or like you mentioned, going out with friends, like, I'm going to say, well, in this case, saying no would be saying yes. Like, no, I don't want to go out. And it's like, without having that, I'm a horrible friend if I don't go out. Like, I'm a horrible friend, this, that, and the other. But you would be a horrible friend if you in there and you trying and you're not enjoying yourself. So now you're bringing the mood down.
Mm-hmm.
So an easy way for that is saying yes to what feels good to you in the smallest way. It doesn't have to be this huge grand thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. And then there's one more thing.
Oh,
go ahead.
I was
say
gonna say
your piece.
one last thing.
Go ahead.
It's like realizing that you can't. You really gotta make a decision. You have to make the decision. If you want to be this thing, you want to be great, whatever it is. You can't still be giving space to the things that are pulling you down.
Mm-hmm.
Like you really have to decide. So yeah.
If it ain't helping you elevate, it's time to eliminate.
Boo bop. I like that.
Yeah, he put that on my spirit.
Listen,
right
okay, come on, spirit. Come on, word.
But I do want to close us out. But I do want your voice to be the last one that they hear because you're the guest. Oh, that's a long comment. Who's that?
Okay, Guthrie. Should I read it?
Go ahead. Yes, please.
So Guthrie said, I think this was in response to what should be done. Okay. She said, one situation at a time. I think you need to be authentic in every step you take, realizing that every step won't always look like we thought, but you're so down for the team of you that you keep going because greatness is coming. Yes. And then your mom said, my thing is having a good plan to do something and never acting on it, like starting my own business.
Right. Yeah. Right. And I've seen my mom make those plans, and they were amazing plans. And so just pushing yourself to do it.
Believing that you can.
Yes, believing that you can and knowing that you are going to start. And if you were at my live on Saturday, I kind of spoke to this. When you start building a bridge, nobody's really going to see it until it gets above the water.
Yep.
Until it gets above the surface. Nobody's going to know how far down you had to dig to lay the foundations. But I promise you, when you start building, people are going to start to pay attention.
Listen.
And people are going to come to you and flow to you.
Oh, Cobby just hopped on.
Cobby, we are wrapping up, girl. But if words unsaid, I left screaming in your head. That ain't relate to nothing we was talking about today. But
if you know, you know.
If you know, you know.
Yep.
But when we talk about stepping into ourselves fully, you have to be fearless and you have to trust that God got you, and you have to trust that you got you.
Baby, listen. Have the confidence of a mediocre white man. That hey, I swear. Okay. I swear. No, that's not to bring. That's real.
That's valid.
Have the confidence of a mediocre white man. Because
baby, Tom.
We all know. We all know that it's that one or it's a few
y'all know it, y'all job.
Exactly.
Y'all
and I
know.
mean the mediocres have the confidence of a mediocre white man and see what that gets you.
Mediocre Mitch. Be him.
I swear to God. Okay, I'm sorry. I just had to say that. Somebody told me that once.
Resilience
is key. If you know, you know. And one thing for sure, you're never to do or start anything. I'm weak. Oh my God. Okay, that just laughing at us. Okay.
Okay, so with that being said, have the confidence of a mediocre white man when you are stepping into your destiny. And just know that you are going to struggle at some point. You might doubt yourself. And something that I said too earlier that I wanted to make sure I mentioned, because we started off talking about comparison. Know that when you are comparing yourself to other people, that means that you have more confidence in them than you do in yourself.
Ooh, bop.
And that's never okay if you're trying to get to the top. Because if that's the case, you need to be helping them get there since you're so worried about what they're doing. And you ain't putting the time into yourself.
No, you got to put some more silence on that. You just got to.
Okay. Right. And so this episode was called If It Works For You, and it was ... at the end. My saying is going to be, if it works for you, fight for it. What you gonna say?
Girl, you be putting me on the spot.
Okay.
You are all these cute sayings and stuff.
Okay,
I need time to think. Ask me again. I got.
If it works for you, ...
If it works for you. If it works for you, yeah, I got nothing.
All the stuff we done talked about today, you got some.
If it works for you, then let it be true. No, that's not cute. I don't like it. If it works for you, you be rhyming and stuff. I don't know.
Mine didn't rhyme. I said if it works for you, fight for it.
If it works for you, listen. Be authentic. Be honest. Be bold in who you are. Own it. Make that happen. Make it happen. It doesn't go with none of that, but it makes sense.
That was good.
Okay, good. I'm working on it.
All right. So, do you want to close us out of this episode?
If it's for you, it's for you.
Oh, what
period.
They say? If it works for you, yeah. What y'all gotta say?
Right.
If it works for you, ... What y'all got to say? Just put some words in the chat. Hurry up.
Right. 3 minutes.
If it works for you.
If it works for you, then it's yours.
Is.
Period.
That was Camille French.
Come on, French.
If it works for you, ...
Come on, Guthrie.
Come on. Y'all got it.
What?
Look,
Kavi, I know you got some.
I feel like I'm teaching. I need 3 more friends to respond.
And then Vogue still on here. Come on. If it works for you.
If it works for you. And I'll wait. Y'all lucky I ain't got no sweater on.
Girl.
I'll wait.
Okay, we had somebody co-sign French's. That
If
works.
It works for you, then it's yours. I need 1 more.
Period.
10.
Okay, they
Stop
co-sign.
liking.
They co-sign.
9.
They co-sign.
Somebody else gonna write some. 8. 7. 6. 5. If it works for you. 4. 3.
Make it happen. Make it happen then.
2.
No, that didn't work. Okay.
1.
Dang,
Okay, Njeri, close us off. Universal Teas, if it works for you.
Oh, me and Ro got extra credit. Y'all did get extra credit. No, if it works for you, make it happen, y'all. Take time to, you know what I mean, pour into yourself. I hope that y'all learn something from this. Tap in next week, Tuesday, 7 p.m. Be at the next live event. Oh, November 4th. More information to come. Period. And if you want to be a guest, say something. Yeah. So, no, thank you for having me. You did a fabulous job. Thank you.
You did a fabulous job.
Thank you, friend. I appreciate you.
All
right. We out of here, right?
Yep.
All right. You got to do your little thing.
You close the show out, girl. That's the whole
purpose. All right,
of me.
y'all.
Oh, my God.